Hey gamers, I am the descendant of Erdrick. Or is it Lodo? Is it Roto? It doesn't matter. It's me, Jason.
And I'm the human embodiment of all the farting trophies from the South Park games. It's me, Patrick. Welcome to RPGaymer Episode 3, a podcast about trophies and achievements.
I'm trying not to laugh because I'm remembering that game.
I literally was looking up what's something embarrassing that I could throw in, like an embarrassing trophy, and it immediately took me to South Park, and I wanted to be like, I'm that ball sack you dodged. I'm your dad's
Oh my
ball
god,
sack.
yeah,
that
your
you
dad's
had
ball
to dodge.
sack. uh, Gosh, aren't trophies and achievements great? Well, that's actually our topic for today. We wanted to talk all about trophies and achievements in video games. We also wanted to look at kind of how they've adapted, changed the whole history from the very beginning to where we are right now. Do you think trophies and achievements have changed gaming? And if they have, for the better or for worse?
You see, it's tough because I definitely have a love-hate relationship with trophies.
Mm,
In some ways they're good because they incentivize you to do things that you might not normally do. I think of some
yeah.
games where they want you to use a character, max out a character. In that case, like, I'm trying something new. I wouldn't normally use this character, so I'm getting the trophy from doing it. But in other ways, it really triggers my OCD, and
Oh.
yeah, like really badly. And I actually, it had ruined games that don't have trophies for a little while because
Mm.
like all of Nintendo and older games, I had to convince myself that it was okay to play a game that didn't have trophies, like Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, on the Switch.
No, the PS3 version, the first one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
like it
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was just in that phase of
Yeah,
uh
that beginning, not everything has it sort of time.
yeah, and I really liked that game, but a part of me at that time was like, "Oh, but there's this new trophy thing, and like you get trophies from playing these games, and like
Hmm,
I
hmm.
want those, and I don't understand why these games don't have them." And I think there was another one like Eternal Sonata at the time didn't
Yeah.
have them either, and they ended up like going back and adding them later. But it was a struggle. What about you?
Yeah,
Did you?
it's like a big FOMO, right? Fear of missing out that it's not there.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it incentivizes playing games in a different way. But
Hmm.
what about you? What do you think? Do you think it's a change for the better or worse?
Yeah, I largely think it's for the better, and I'm a similar story as you too. I would look at a game and be like, well, if there's no achievements, I don't know if I want to play it as much. But um, I think I looked at that at the beginning. If people aren't familiar, trophies and achievements are they kind of started with Xbox 360 and PS3 around that era of
Hmm.
time, and it was Xbox that had it first, and I think that Sony played catch up, and so Xbox had the achievements, Sony had the trophies. And yeah, in your example, like playing a game on Xbox 360 was probably why I played it. If I didn't have a choice between the two, or if I had a choice between the two consoles, I'd probably pick that so I could get the trophies for it. Well, achievements to be specific. And it was a lot more fun, and it just felt like it was a neat way to show off that I've played this game or I did this certain thing, and I think that's the whole point of it. So it seems like you and I, Patrick, are kind of similar, a little bit different on the beginnings here. But what do you think makes a good achievement or trophy, or what do you think makes a bad trophy or achievement?
Yeah, I think this is something that's going to be really subjective to the player because, everybody has their own preference and their like bandwidth of what they think is acceptable. So I think like it's really easy to say like what is bad because there are a lot of examples
Hmm.
of what is a bad trophy. But it's hard to say like what is a good trophy because I like a game that has variety of trophies. It's not just like a chapter base, like I don't mind
Yeah.
getting those chapter based trophies, but if that's the only thing that I'm getting, then that's just not really anything special. So for me, good,
Yeah.
good
Yeah. Yeah.
trophies are things that have a fair benchmark. It's
Okay.
not like yeah, it's something ambitious that you can do, but it's not to the point where it's destroying your soul. Bad trophies are collectathons, or yeah,
Yes.
which I mean, like almost all games have. I think bad trophies are games that you have to like speed run,
Mm.
or require you to play through 5 different times when it's may not even
Yeah,
be like a good replayability game. I'm thinking of
right.
Trails of Cold Steel. In order to get like everything, it's like a 70-80 hour RPG, and you have to play through it
God, do it three
multiple,
times.
3 times, and with a guide, because it would just be impossible. And then other
Disgusting.
things like no deaths or online play. That's one that really gets me. I just think that's so bad, because online play, whether it's a good game or not, eventually people are going to stop playing that game,
Hmm.
and then you're never going to be able to get that trophy. And it's funny when I see what culture or other like clickbaity top 10 lists, as they do a video on like the worst kinds of
Top 10
trophies.
hardest trophies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's always like one of the top 10 hardest trophies to get is this trophy, and it's because no one plays this game anymore. Like I just played
Hmm.
XCOM 2, and I was thinking like, well, I'm probably never going to platinum this, because some of them are those
The multiplayer ones.
oh well, some of them are just the high difficulty ones. So I was kind of like
Mm-hmm.
already knew going in, I'm not going to get a platinum this. But then and I thought that was going to be one of the hardest trophies, and no, the hardest trophy is, yeah, there's a multiplayer competitive trophy.
And ain't nobody playing XCOM 2 anymore.
Right, right, and
Hmm.
ultimately the worst kind though are stupid tasks, like standing
Stupid
still,
tasks.
like standing still. Like
Oh yeah.
like literally your character doesn't do anything aside from just stand there or talk to someone X times, or you have to do something super obscene that it's just getting a trophy for the sake of getting a trophy. What about you? Like, I mean, I feel like I have a very exhausted list and I could go on and on and on, but what were some things that maybe I said that really hit home with you, or things that I didn't mention?
Yeah, I think exhaustive list is good, but I feel like I'm going to echo most of the same things, but a little bit different. I think what makes a good one are the ones that let you explore the game for like what it is. So like you were saying, it's kind of like you said, a benchmark. So it is kind of a benchmark. Like this is what let's say God of War. Laura's playing it right now. This is what makes God of War good. Like you're getting these skills and you're seeing this part of the world. You're achieving this cool combo feat, something like that. So it's making you as the player enjoy the game, or not enjoy the game. Hopefully you're enjoying the game. It's making
I
you
mean,
as
it's
the
the God of
player
War. I'm
like,
pretty sure you're enjoying the game.
yeah, you're enjoying the game. But it's you like exploring and like developing into that world. So it's letting you enjoy what you're doing and like be rewarded for it, and know like, yeah, I did achieve that. Like I am a better player now because I've done these tasks. So it's pretty cool. Those are the good ones. The other good ones I wanted to point out are the kind of the fun ones that make you go like, oh, that's cool. Or like, I never would have done that. And like, yeah, it could be like you said, collectathons. Like maybe you do collect so much of something and then it rewards you with something really cool. But more so, I'm thinking of the ones that push you towards a direction where you wouldn't normally go. Like, for example, if you're playing Far Cry 4 and you like don't get up to leave in the very beginning, you get a bad ending and you get a trophy for it. It's kind of funny. It's silly. It's a joke trophy basically, but you can enjoy the game for what it is. It's a little bit more humor, and it just kind of shows you like it lets you know basically in the game world I can do what I want to do, and I'm not bound by what someone tells me. So
But
it does kind of
is that
tell you more.
trophy worthy though? Do you think that
See,
merits a trophy? Because I know what
exactly.
you're talking about. Like I haven't played the game,
Yeah.
but that is a pretty like infamous scene in Far
Hmm.
Cry
Hmm.
games. And to me, like I just don't understand like why that requires a reward.
Yeah, that's a great thing to bring up, and I think it's because it's how a developer will want to essentially reward players. And I think that a trophy isn't necessarily a trophy in the sense of like, here's a physical thing for your achievement and your accomplishment. I think it's more so, here is something that can happen in the game that we're going to mark almost in a way to like entice other players to do that, or to show off to someone else like, look what I've done. So it's not necessarily like, you're the greatest Olympic athlete in skiing and here is your gold medal. It could be more so like, you know what, you did eat 50 hot dogs in that ceremony. Like, this is cool. Let's remember it, and we'll take a photo. So it's kind of like that. And I think as the player, I mean, everyone plays games differently, but I think that's kind of where trophies and achievements are right now. It has this sort of, I don't know, the funniness, the silliness, the seriousness. They're all kind of bunched together.
And I like what you were saying about with the first part, where these good trophies are ones that like amplify the experience and they're in the context of the
Hmm.
experience, where like, you're talking about God of War and you're being encouraged to pull off these sick combos that aren't anything like too crazy to do, or get your gear up to a certain level. It's not anything crazy out there. It's not
Hmm.
breaking the experience. It's not pulling that character out of their element and doing something weird.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
really like world builds in a way. Like the trophies almost world build, and I thought that was a
Yeah.
great example of like, maybe that's a good way of thinking about it, of like what really good trophies do.
Yeah, it does. And like if you're looking at the trophies in God of War, let's use that example and keep going, you're going to get the ones that start off for combat, for leveling up your gear, for getting your first rune, whatever it looks like. But then those end in literally defeating all 9 Valkyries, which is hella hard. And
Yes.
so like it's moving you up towards that goal. And I think that's really, really smart use of trophies and achievements. Um, to jump to the end of this question and talk about what I think bad trophies and achievements are, I also think online multiplayer ones are pretty shitty. But
Well,
they
especially
could be
you being
okay.
a Street Fighter player, like if you
Yeah,
wanted to play someone, well, I mean, if you wanted to complete base Street Fighter 4, you couldn't,
you can't
because
anymore, really.
they
Mhm.
re-released it in like, what is it, Ultra Street Fighter 4? What's it called?
Yeah, Ultra, and then and then they have Arcade. There's two new released versions.
Right, and those are not the same trophy bases. I'm sure they're
No, they're not.
completely different games.
Yeah.
So that completely obliterates your opportunity to do that. Like you would have to call me and be
Hmm.
like, "Hey Patrick, sign on this and get me
I'm gonna
to."
beat you 50 times, okay?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that like Street Fighter 4 is a good example. That's in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. It's kind of when achievements and trophies started, and I think that people were just figuring out what works. Because in that game, I've got to remember, but I'm fairly certain like one of the trophies is like win 50 ranked matches, win 50 versus matches, things like that. And that is kind of that landmark trophy of yeah, like I've done it. It's cool to get that, but is it really a good trophy? Like I don't really think so, because I think it's not enticing you to do anything different. It's just basically saying yeah, I played the game for 50 hours and I got this. And I think those types of trophies are not my favorite.
So, speaking of being competitive, do you feel like your trophy score or your achievement score matters in the long run?
I think that it matters to some people, and I think that's kind of the joy that people can get from trophies and achievements, and why personally I feel like it's good for gaming. I think some people will like to see that number go up. Some people will like to say I have all these platinums, or someone will like to say, oh, I have more of a gamer score or a trophy level than someone else, and like that's why they play games. And I think that's wonderful. So I think if people want to do that and have that sense of like meta competition on their console between other friends, what have you, that's really cool. For me personally, I don't really care. I mean, you definitely know that I don't really care about finishing games all that
Yeah,
much. So I'm yeah, like
which we
I
could do a full like psychological episode on you on.
it's true. Well, see, there could be an entire season about this.
Really good. Well, we
But
wouldn't
I
finish it though.
exactly. How much hours do you have left to record? Yeah, I think that for me it doesn't really matter, but I do like to look back and kind of see my log of games that I played. Let's just reference the PlayStation, because it does include PS3, PS Vita, PS4, and PS5. So it's kind of cool, and like I'd like that to go with me, like with my PSN handle. I want to see it keep going until I don't know, PS6, 7, 8, 9, whatever it looks like, and just look back to remember like, oh yeah, I did play Street Fighter 4 on PS3 way back in 2008. But what about you? What do you think
Yeah,
about the overall
yeah,
score?
it's a little bit of a dick measuring contest
Oh,
for
definitely.
sure. I remember when it was new, we got our PS3s around the same time. Like I know you had
Yeah,
yours
college.
already, and then I got mine. I feel like this the year after that. So while we were in college, I was definitely competitive. Like I wanted to compete with
Hmm.
you. Even post college when we weren't seeing each other, like I would check in on your score, and I would,
Dang,
yeah, and I would think that's
creeper.
so silly, because like that would push me into that realm of like, do I really need these?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it was also fun. It's cool to be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got this, I worked hard. But that's not really something that I can take in outside of like the realm of the nerd and be like, yeah, I got that trophy that no one else has, because it's not going to matter. But like, and I mean, I am like a fully functional adult with many circles, so it it doesn't apply anywhere else. It's not like, oh yeah, I
Hmm.
learned how to cook this new thing. You know what I mean? Like when we were talking about
Yeah,
those things that you learn from games
yeah.
last season. Like I can totally talk about these things that I did outside of gaming to people, and that'd be very interesting. But I couldn't bring up that uh, outside of a gaming circle, like these trophies and these completionist things. It wouldn't matter to them. So in a sense, it is kind of silly.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, I know what you're talking about, where you look at someone else's score and feel like, oh, what have they been playing? Or really, more so for me, I might do the compare games option, for example, and just see like, oh, I'm gonna make something up. Like Patrick platinumed God of War, so I know that you've experienced what I've experienced. So like, I can at least like, I know like, oh, we have this similar sort of moment in games, and that could be pretty cool. And I don't even have to like talk to you to like understand that. I can just know automatically. So it could be cool.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely positives and negatives there.
I also know that some people will literally just like find the easiest games to platinum
Hmm.
and they'll just use that to bump their score, and I feel like that's silly because then you're not even playing games. Like it's just
Yeah,
not about the game anymore, it's about your
it's just about the number.
right.
I agree. Well, speaking about the number, I guess there was a time when games didn't have trophies or achievements. So what was it like before that? Was there something similar that you can remember?
Yeah, I had to do some thinking about this. I didn't want to look anything up just because I kind of wanted to generate my own opinions on it. And some games
Mhm.
definitely did have their own form of achievements without making you feel like you were doing something crazy or you were
Yeah.
earning it just for the sake of that. So, Tales of Symphonia had this title system for your characters where
Hmm.
if you did certain things in the game, whether that's certain combos or certain cooking things or whatever, you would earn a title for that character. And
Hmm.
those were kind of like this checklist of things that you've completed. Some of them were like if your character got to a certain level, but it was also nice because you could change the character's title, like they kind of equipped it, and it would kind of govern how they would level up.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Interesting.
it would change their stat modifiers on level ups and whatnot. The Wild Arms series, kind of towards Wild Arms 3 and beyond, they had these EX key files that you would get for accomplishing, like beating the super bosses or completing major side quests, which and you get like post game rewards where you could unlock the um, like the music,
Okay.
or you could unlock a new game plus and extra things. So these EX files were kind of used as like a trophy system, and I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Outside of RPGs, can't really think of anything, but those were kind of my examples.
Yeah, mentioning how you can get unlocks and sort of showing off your progress that way, I can think of the Mega Man Anniversary Collection, because of course I did, and it has moments where in that game, if you beat like Mega Man 1, 2, 3, whatever, you unlock like special artwork or a unique interview like in the game. And it's kind of like your benchmark for how what you've done, because you can actually go into like your section to see, it might even be called trophies, I'm not even sure. But it'll show like what you've achieved and what you can do. It's literally the same system of trophies and achievements. It's just on the PS2 or the GameCube. The other one stuck to me too is unlockables from games like GoldenEye, like on the N64. Like basically every level had an achievement you could do that would unlock a cheat that you could use in the game.
What was it
So if
called
you were
when you made your character? Or all the characters have really big heads and arms. Is it gorilla
oh,
mode?
it's DK mode.
DK mode.
Yeah,
DK
DK
mode.
mode. Yeah, yeah. So like things like that. Like if you didn't have DK mode, then you could kind of tell, well, this person hasn't beaten. I actually think that's the first level, like the first one on this specific setting. And so it was kind of cool. And but it's in no way a like system for trophies and achievements. It's just how, at least to me, and I'm assuming others, how we gauged someone's skill set in a game, or how we might have like evaluated what they've done. You could look at that cheat menu and see it, or look at the Pokedex and see what they've done. And did it encourage me to play more? Like, yeah, kind of. It was kind of the same as trophies and achievements. It made me want to do more and unlock more stuff. It's just that instead of getting a little neat little sound pop up and a little indication that I have a trophy, I got like fulfillment of completing a Pokedex or an actual cheat to keep playing the game. So it was just a little different. But there was definitely systems there, I would say.
Yeah, I'm playing the new Pokemon game, and I mean, like, obviously, we all know that Nintendo still doesn't do trophies or achievements, and there would be room for them, obviously,
Yeah,
like, if they wanted to do that. Um, why do you think Nintendo wants to stay away from this?
because they hate fun.
I don't
No,
know. I
I
don't know if it's a hating fun
no,
thing.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's articles somewhere that I could not find about this, but it just seems like Nintendo hasn't, and I don't know
They
why. Like
thought about it. It was considered for the Switch. I remember seeing
the
that.
Switch,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember it too, but like I'm just not sure why they wouldn't do it. Because as this podcast is going to discuss, I really feel like there's no major downsides to including a system like this. It just seems like you would encourage people that wanted them to keep playing, and then encourage people that didn't care about them to just literally not care, and like it wouldn't really affect them. So I'm not really sure why. What about
I
you?
thought maybe it was just the fact of making games purely for the enjoyment rather than adding that
Oh yeah,
extra stressor. So like
yeah,
it told
the social layer really.
yeah, kind of, well, not the social layer, just kind of like the purity of games and just the way things were before and not needing to evolve,
Hmm.
because at the end of the day it's not like there's no Nintendo community. There's like a huge Nintendo community. But I mentioned earlier that like I really struggled to convince myself to play games where I wasn't getting trophies, and it took me a little while to be more okay with that, and
Yeah.
just appreciating the things that I did without getting a reward. For example, when I replay Dragon Quest 11, I did one of like the dragon statue trial things where you put the game on hard mode
Hmm.
and instead of normal mode, and it made me feel like I accomplished a little bit more because I didn't feel like I had something that like made it a bragging right, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
just
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
badge that I can hold over other people. And it kind of made it a preference thing too. Like I got to do it because I preferred to do it that way instead of like debating when I was playing XCOM, do I want to play this on easy, normal, hard, or legendary? And sometimes I go back and forth of, do I want to play it on hard or do I want to play it on normal? Well, hard gets me that extra trophy. It took that pressure
Hmm.
off, and it just kind of like I don't have to worry about pushing myself a little bit harder. I can still just go in where I want to.
That's great insight. That's wonderful. Now that hearing that, I feel like that's probably the case, that you're just playing the game to enjoy the game for what it is, which is actually how I would probably play a game personally. And yeah, I could totally see Nintendo taking that option. That makes a lot of sense.
I don't think it would be so bad for like Sony or Microsoft if they did trophies again that really worked for us. Again, like Nintendo being the outlier and just wanting the purity games, these other two companies aren't going to change. So if I had to continue playing games and accept getting trophies, I think I would want to see ones that are more like in Skyrim. We see
Hmm.
actually a lot of trophies that I really liked, because usually when you're playing a game and it's really forcing those different perspectives of like, oh, if it's a branching path like you have in Skyrim, it's going to make
Hmm.
you play the game twice. And one of the reasons why I
Hmm.
really liked Skyrim so much in terms of just trophies was I could do everything in one playthrough. Like when you do
Okay.
your factions, you're not locked out of factions. And
Yeah.
also, when you have that path split in that game, you still get the same trophy. Like once you decide, oh, am I siding with the Nords or am I siding with the Imperials? It's the same trophy overall.
Yeah.
So in
Because it's like your story.
because I don't, yeah, exactly. And I don't want to have to play a 100-hour game again, because when you play a game like Skyrim, it's a part of it is all the little side quests. So you're going to get caught up in these little things that don't have achievements, but like I wouldn't want to have to play the game again or save right before that decision and experience it a different way. So I appreciated that they were just kind of like, no matter what, you're still getting those same trophies. I also don't mind super bosses in some RPGs, like
Hmm.
I'm thinking of Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts. Not impossible, but you can beat him.
Yeah, the challenge. Hmm.
Ruby, Emerald, Omega in 7 and 8. Omega and 8.
Hmm.
Are super bosses. Yeah, you might need a little bit of a guide. Those aren't too bad though. You can still do it. Yazamat from Final Fantasy 12, fuck that guy. Like that should not be a trophy. Like that one's just stupid. I know people talk about Adamantoys in Final Fantasy 15 being like so long to beat and it taking almost an hour. It took me 15
God.
minutes. It didn't take long. Like you can spam cheese that guy. But Yazamat has ways of just completely obliterating you So
Mhm.
that one is like a bad example of a super boss. But I think sometimes super bosses as trophy gates can be okay. What were some
Yeah,
specific trophies that kind of worked for you?
yeah, I agree. It's funny you say those. I have none of those same same examples, but the same idea I think you're getting across there is like a shared experience. So like doing something really large, like I can reference back to defeating the Valkyries in God of War. Like it's a challenge in itself, and it's rewarding to get there. And I think that it makes you keep playing the game. Like so you keep enjoying what you're hopefully already enjoying. And I think those are like the best types of trophies and achievements. The ones that work best for me though are the ones that I can like casually kind of get, but also have to work towards a little bit. So you referenced Skyrim, which no one ever beat Skyrim, but I did beat Oblivion. I did beat Oblivion actually twice, and it's technically the first game I actually got 1,000 gamer score on. I did it all on Xbox 360,
Ooh.
and yeah, the exact same reason I don't have to play it again, and I think that that's really fun because while the game is wonderful, I will if I beat a game by itself on its own is amazing, but if I play it twice, it's like never gonna happen. So like for example, Fallout, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, I think they both might have options where you take like the evil route or the good route or the middle route, and like I don't know if I really care. And like spoilers, if I'm gonna blow up Megaton, I don't know if I want to like not blow it up. Like I don't really care. So I think that the ones that really cater towards me the most are the ones that let me enjoy the experience for what it is and let me just like have fun with the game
Well,
itself.
that's what I was kind of saying earlier too about like ones that really keep you in the context of the experience, because like
Yeah.
I would just want to get the trophy for whether I save or blow up Megaton. I
Hmm.
don't want to have to get both,
Both.
because I
Yeah.
don't like playing the evil character in games, and like I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to have to just replay the game to do that. I think that they would have to be a lot more original in order to do that. And for Fallout 4, like you said, um you literally have to beat the game. It's like the synth ending. I don't remember what
Yeah.
they're technically called, like their base. There's the
The Brotherhood ending or
the
whatever.
Brotherhood
Yeah. There's like
ending.
three.
Yeah, there's like
Hmm.
three. No, there's Force 4. Um
Oh, the Railroad. That's one of them
and
too.
then
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then who is
Hmm.
it that Preston Garvey's a part of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like they're
Yeah. And it sucks. And like it could be cool to like yeah I can experience like the different sides of it, but I don't really care. And maybe the achievement should just be like decided the fate of Megaton and like moved on from there.
exactly, because it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah. Yeah.
encouraging you to attempt this quest, and
Yeah.
might push
Yeah.
you. It might get you, like if you look up a list and you're like, oh, I didn't know this quest existed, to go over
Hmm.
there. But it's
To go
not
do it.
like see both options. And like I know it does impact the game somewhat, but in the long run it just
Yeah.
removes a city. Like it really doesn't impact the
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
that much.
But like maybe this is really unique to like an RPG where you can change things like that, but it just makes it like my story. Like in my world Megaton lived, and like maybe in yours it didn't, and that's just the way it goes. And then someone else is like, oh yeah, like I blew it up, and I'm like, what the fuck, you blew it up? And so like it does the same thing a trophy and achievement should probably do, where it starts the conversation socially, but like it doesn't force me to do both. Like it makes it less impactful if I know like, well, I'm just gonna go and what's it called, save spam this and then see what happens if I do it this way instead. Like nah, I'd rather like not do that.
Right, and like you said, it really fosters that conversation of like, oh yeah, Jason, like you decided to blow that up. I would never do that. What were the pros or the benefits of you
Yeah.
doing that, or did you just like want to see it? Like totally could have that conversation. But if it's just the whole completionist thing, yeah, I just did it so I could get the
Hmm.
trophy. Like the number of times I've said,
Yeah,
yeah, I just did it so I could get the trophy.
so I get the trophy.
I'm just super vacillating on shitty trophies now, so I just want to get
There's so many.
yeah, I want to get some of these out if that's okay. Like some of these
Sure.
like stupid ridiculous trophies. So we were talking about Fallout 4, and that's one that just really grinds me because I do have a platinum in that game, and the
Ooh,
last
damn.
trophy that I had, thank you, was the 100% happiness in the settlement.
Oh
And
god. Yeah, yeah.
the reason why it's so ridiculous is because the formula for getting 100% happiness is so obscure.
Hmm.
Like
What do you need to do?
like you basically just need to move everybody inside one community, and then make sure
Hmm.
that you have a shit ton of food,
And turrets.
and yeah, and like everything just
Yeah.
needs to be so obscene, like your ratios for
Mm.
everything, and then it's kind of luck based, like if they don't get attacked in that time, but there's no
Yep.
like
Oh, Deathclaw came. Guess you're fucked.
right, there's no hard truth to how to do that. So that's an upsetting one for me. Other ones that are
Mm.
ridiculous, I'll probably do one more like non-RPG and then a bunch of RPG ones because there's so many ridiculous ones in RPGs.
All good.
Finishing Resident Evil 1 remake with just a knife, like what?
Oh, God.
Like why?
What?
No. So that's one. Final Fantasy 13, the scourge of all Final Fantasies, which the more I get involved in these gaming groups, it's awesome that people have different like opinions on different Final Fantasies and which ones they love. And people really love Final Fantasy 13, which is like cool if that's your thing, but still not the biggest fan of that game. And the fact that like
Fair.
one of the trophies is to collect all gear, and like I don't like it when I have to get a guide in order to
find some shit.
to do something. And this is one of those, like, if you sell something, you're gonna really fucked up. Like it's gonna take forever to get that back, or you know. So that was a hard one to collect all the gear. Or Final Fantasy 10-2's 100% ending. Need a guide for that one. Final Fantasy 9's Excalibur 2. Beat the game in under like what is it, like 15-12 hours? Like just for a trophy. Ridiculous. Like just for a trophy. Like I get the Excalibur 2, I got this really cool sword, but like you're under leveled for the rest of the game. So that's kind of why I think that like if you need a guide to get a trophy, I feel like it's wrong. You know, I just
it's not that good.
Yeah, it's then it's just that like whole completionist fest. So all right, soapbox rant over. How about you? What if you just had to like bust down some really quickly, what would they be?
So I think the ridiculous ones I really hate are the ones that make you play the game more than once, and you have to do it. It pisses me off. But the other ones that stand out to me, I don't know the name of this game, but it was such a ridiculous idea for a trophy, but it was something like a online shooter, and a developer like just had in his like basically he had the trophy unlocked already, and the only way that you could get the trophy is if you were in a game and killed the guy with the trophy, then you would have it. And then like if I played another game and like someone else killed me, they would have it. What? So it kept like trickling down and down. It's like an interesting idea.
But if the person with the trophy quit,
if they never play, right. Exactly. So like they never played, and I'm like, that's a great idea, but it just ended really, really poorly. And so that
it's not a great idea then, you know.
Well, yeah. See, okay, it's an idea.
Yes, it was an idea.
It was an idea. It could have worked. The other ridiculous ones are the ones that are like, they just offer nothing to the gameplay experience. And I think that you mentioned it earlier. It's the hella collectathons. So like when it's get so much of this or collect, what is it? There's one for Devil May Cry. Oh god, DMC or Devil May Cry 4. I can't remember which one. It has like you collecting a certain number of red orbs, and like you can't spend them or something like that. It's really stupid, and like I don't understand why it wants you to do that. And it like takes away from my gameplay experience by like limiting what I'm doing.
Well, some of these could be better. Like you're talking about the collectathon, like just having a certain level of currency one, and I'm with you. Like I don't like when I can't spend money. I tried to get the platinum and Bloodstained, but one of them is the same thing. So there are ways that it can be done better, and that's when I appreciate it. Like one of our big stream games we name drop a lot is Remnant, and the way that game didn't punish you, you still had to like amass a lot of money or currency, but
you could at least spend
it. It had a base value. Like it was separate from what you had in your current pocket, and it was always counting for you. And that's one of those ways that like it can be done so much better. Or if it is going to be a collectathon, maybe it's just 80% of everything, and it's not 100% of everything, because there are some ultimate weapons in some games where it's just like it's just obscene. Like I don't want to dodge these 200 lightning bolts. I know you did that. Like I remember that. Like just think like why does this matter so
why
much?
Though?
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if I did it, I damn well better get an achievement for it. But yeah, like, why am I doing it?
So maybe like these ones that are like everything, it's more of a percentage, and that could be collecting things. Some of the games have you like RPGs, if you can unlock the entire map, like literally everything that's blacked out is no longer blacked out. And I remember for Wild Arms 3 is another game that I platinumed. Finding the one square on the map that was not a black box took me forever, because where it was like on a mountain or like a black line on the map. So I couldn't see from what I was when I was flying around and looking at the map where the actual spot was.
Oh, that
So
sucks.
I literally had to it wasn't meaningful. So the way maybe it could be better is, go to every location, and then it's not like you're just aimlessly flying around a map just to unlock it, but seeing all the sites. That's a better way of thinking it. So maybe if they were just smarter about how they did it. And let's talk about some things that we can brag about. How many platinums do you have?
Oh my god.
Maybe ballpark if you don't know for sure.
I mean, less than 10.
Less than 10.
So yeah, let's just go with less than 10. I did get a platinum last week, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, no, we can talk about that now.
No, we'll talk about it later. Don't worry.
Okay.
But I think that for me, platinuming games, if you're not sure what that means, it's getting every single achievement in the game, or if you're on Xbox, it's getting 1,000 gamer score. It's not always for me. I think I do the same thing you do, where I look at the list and think like, well, I'm not getting that one, so I'm not platinuming this game. But I also look at it and think like, do I want to do these things? Like, if there's ever an option for like replaying the game again, I usually don't want to do it. And so I tend to just stay away, and I usually just play the game, enjoy it for as much as I can, and then move on. But there is a lot to be said for getting everything in a game. Like I did that with Dragon Quest 11, and it was great. Like it made me explore more of the game and do more stuff and find new exploits and ways to like defeat my enemies, and it was fun.
Well, that one's not. That one's more
like
a time suck for platinuming more than it is a skill, like a skill investment.
True. Well, if we're talking about skill investments and platinums, I guess how many platinums do you have?
So when we originally planned this, I had 7 and actually had to update it to 9 because my internet was out recently and I did not have
the greatest way to get more video games in.
Well, it was funny because when your internet's out, I actually couldn't connect to PlayStation Network, so I couldn't see what trophies I needed for games. So it's actually a miracle that I was able to platinum some of these games at all. So I just kind of went with a list and guessed what I needed. But I have 9 now. I had 7, and I mean, if I'm close enough to getting a platinum, I will definitely look at the remaining trophies. And
same.
I'll be like, is this worth it? Yes or no? And if I'm pretty close, like, or did I enjoy the game enough? So some games, you naturally get them. Like The Walking Dead was my first trophy or platinum, because you just basically get it. Like it's you just complete the game, and we have
a joke in our friend group that those platinums don't count.
Well,
any of the Telltale
games. I feel like it's good if it is your first, because it kind of like gives you that credit of like, okay, I have something now. I kind of see why this is cool. I think the hardest platinums I've ever got it's a tie between Remnant, because there is one in there where you have to defeat a boss in offline mode without taking a hit. Yeah. And I mean, like there are a lot of guides, or they give you suggestions. That's not really my preference of game style. So like not taking hits, because I mean, I am as clumsy in games as I am in real life. But the other one was pretty hard. That's tied as BioShock 1.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That'd be a fun one.
That was a really good one. That one does take multiple playthroughs, but
yeah, you have to do the little sisters differently, right?
Well, and it's even you have to do it on the hardest difficulty, which might be called Survivor, maybe. Which I was very proud of that one because of the difficulty jump in it. Yeah. What was some of your standouts?
I mean, Dragon Quest 11 is probably the biggest standout, because I feel like that was the largest game that I could say I did.
Well, and just knowing the person that you are and the type of gamer that you are, for you, if it's a time commitment platinum, that interests me, because I know what you're not completing and what you're not playing. Like, and no shade, but I mean, like, that must mean you really enjoyed this game if you got a platinum.
Yeah. I did. That's exactly what it is. I liked it a lot, and also it just fit. Like the game was easy to pick up and play for like 30 minutes or 3 hours. So it was a good
literally up to 100 hours.
Yeah, I think I was right below it. I think it was 80 or 90. So, and it was fun. Like I wouldn't change a thing. It was wonderful. Other platinums that I can think of. I got a couple Telltale ones. I also have Fallout Shelter. If you remember that game. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, I know that game.
Yeah. It was fun, and I think that it was silly because it's a relatively easy plat, but it was cute. It made me enjoy the game a lot. But I mentioned earlier too, my first one is probably one of the ones I'm more proud of. It's Oblivion. So I did do that fully on Xbox. It was wonderful.
So
And same reason it let you do like multiple factions all at once. You weren't ruined, like screwed out of it, anything if you didn't have to replay. You couldn't really miss anything. It made you explore the world. It was really fun, and it made me think like, yep, this is why people like these types of games and why you might want to go for a plat. So I think I enjoyed that game because it was really fun to sort of experience everything. But have you ever played a game just to get trophies and achievements?
no, but I
Mm.
will replay games for extra trophies. So,
Okay.
for example, there are 70 different releases of Skyrim,
Yes.
and I have definitely played a few of them to reclaim my trophies. Skyrim is a game that I have platinumed.
Nice.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have the PS4 version when it came out. I played that, and I replayed it. I'm replaying it actually now, which that's what I will talk about when we get to the what you're playing. But I would like to platinum it this time. I didn't platinum it the first time, but when you have the PS4 version, the PS5 version, it starts your trophies over. So I'm basically getting the same trophies.
Oh, wow, nice.
How about you? Have you played
I think-
anything for just trophies?
I think that I haven't started a game just to get trophies, but there are absolutely times where we'll turn a game on myself alone or with friends, and we'll just go trophy hunting to try to get stuff. It's fun. I think back to how we started this conversation, it's another way to play and enjoy a video game, and I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's neat. It's something to like to go for and have fun with. To call it some examples, we would try to do that with we're playing Vermintide. We've done that a couple times. That actually started technically with the Left 4 Dead series back on the PC from Valve. And yeah, I remember jumping in games just to try to get achievements. So that's through Steam, and it's fun. Like it's a different way to play the game, and I think it's wonderful. I don't know if I would ever like just play a game to get trophies. I know some people do, but I think that it's not what I would want. And yeah,
it's hard
not
because
a fun way to enjoy.
if you think about it, playing a game for trophies, is that any different than like playing a bad game for the trophies? Like you've already started playing it and you're just kind of like, well, I don't really care what happens.
I'm already
I
here.
might as well just finish it, because I'm trying to think of games I play. I wouldn't necessarily called like Dragon Quest Heroes a bad game, but it's very low effort game, and I definitely just finished that game and I platinumed it just to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I probably, if it hadn't been a Dragon Quest game, I wouldn't have played it. But Ni no Kuni 2 started the same way. Like I honestly think Ni no Kuni 2 is not a good game. Ni no Kuni 1 is so good. And I'm like, you know what? I'm already 20 hours in. I might as well just finish it and go for the platinum, because like I'm here. Maybe I'll end up enjoying it. And I couldn't do it. Like I had to quit because it had too much filler. So like, yeah, I'm wondering if that's different than just playing a game for the trophies.
See, that's story is vaguely reminiscent of me and my college career, where I'm like, well, I'm already really close to getting this degree. I should just finish it anyway. I don't like it anymore. That's kind of what I did.
I always ask you what your degree was again, because you were doing nothing.
There's so many. I think getting back to gaming though, I feel like platinums and like playing games for platinums and whatnot. I think this is a good category for Laura too. I think that she doesn't play bad games, like, and she wouldn't play it just to get the trophies and achievements. But I think that like playing the game and enjoying it to get those trophies is a motivator, and I think that that's great. I think if the game is bad and like if you wouldn't, do you want to finish it to get the achievements? Yeah, maybe, because then you can almost sort of like wash your hands of it and just be done.
Sure, yeah, it definitely has that quality of like, cool, I never have to play this again.
Never have to touch this again. Yeah, exactly. And it could be neat to say like, yeah, I have this trophy in this shitty game, and it could be fun. But no, I think for the most part, I don't think I would ever touch a bad game or finish one just to get the trophies and achievements. Because if I'm thinking about a game like Fallout Shelter, for example, yeah, it was cool, but towards the end it wasn't like fun anymore. I was just going through the motions literally every day to get like my numbers up to get the trophy so I could just be done with the game, and that's not how you should enjoy a video game.
Definitely.
So it was a little rough. Wow, well, I think we covered quite a lot about trophies and achievements, and Patrick, I have to say I'm honestly kind of impressed we made it this entire way without you mentioning TNA being tits and ass.
Well, I would never mention T, but I would definitely mention A. I'm all about that A. About that A. All booty.
Okay, and with that, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back. Make sure to tell us your thoughts about this episode and how you feel about trophies and achievements. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RPGaymer. And be sure to leave a review for this podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback, and we'll be right back in a few moments.
And we're back for our middle segment, What You Playin'? Jason, we're gaming right now, and you kind of already brought it up, but why don't you bring it up again? What you playing right now? What did you just platinum?
Yeah, I finally platinumed Astro's Playroom on the PS5. And don't laugh, because it's an included game on all PS5s, but it's a legitimately really fun platformer. And it's made by, it's like Asobi or whatever. They've made a couple other games. But it's really neat because it actually takes place inside the PlayStation 5. So like you see things like processors and GPUs, things like that. But the really neat thing is that it's basically an entire history of PlayStation from PS1 through PS2, 3, 4, 5, Vita, the PS Mini from Japan. So like as you're going through these platforming worlds, which are literally based on things like the GPU, for example, like you're collecting artifacts, they call them. And these artifacts are like physical things from PlayStation. So for example, you'll collect like the PS1 controller, you'll collect the PS2 system, like you'll also collect the PS Move gun, like things like this. And there's little tidbits about it and information about the history of PlayStation. And as someone that's played from the beginning, as a big collector, it's really cool. It's really neat to see these things, and there's so many neat touches. Like for example, if you super nerdy here, if you look at the model they have for the PS1, you can actually flip it and rotate it, and it shows like the actual model number of the original, like the first PS1. And it's even correct in that it has like this specific port on the side that's not on the later ones because people used it for hacking. So like it's kind of neat. It's a really neat thing that they added. So if you're a PlayStation nerd, it's really fun. The other cool thing about that game, besides it being free with PS5s, is it's supposed to be kind of a tech demo for the PS5's controller and what it can do. So you definitely get the haptic feedback sensors of your triggers.
I do
so for example,
really like that, because I think the only game I've noticed that in, aside from this, is Control. And
Control,
like
yeah,
so maybe people don't know, but like it's when you basically pull down the shooting button in games where you have a gun, it literally like resists as if you were pulling real gun, like a real gun trigger. It's crazy.
Totally. Yeah, and you pull it down and you feel the resistance, and you like snap it down, and like it's there. Another thing that you might have actually experienced on Switch is kind of like their quote-unquote HD rumble, where you'll have smaller or bigger rumbles on different parts of the controller, so you can actually feel it like where it is. It's neat, and I think that it's a neat feeling, and I imagine it's going to be included in lots of other games and systems going forward. And that's a fun one. So if you have a PS5 and you haven't played through it, it's a pretty easy achievement, or pretty easy trophy, I should say, for the platinum. Pretty quick too, and it's wonderful. It's a great little game.
Yeah, maybe they'll include it in everything like the DS and 3DS did with the speaking component. It was definitely used in all of their games where you use the microphone for everything. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you know how it goes. Exactly. What about you? What have you been playing?
Well, yeah, I said it already, but just to reiterate, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I could not be happier.
Ooh.
Like, I know some people, the purists, which I mean, I consider myself a purist in some capacity too, are not thrilled with this game. But like, this is like a polished game, especially if you can get the PS5 version. Like, I've talked to a lot of people, got various opinions on Final Fantasy VII Remake, and some people are like, "Don't play it; it's trash. They changed the story, blah blah blah." But some people are all like,
they like love it.
Yeah, they love it, and like they are old school gamers, and they're like, "Go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII, and you notice all of the holes in the game, and like a part of it is really just the nostalgia or like the first of its time and whatnot that made it so great." This game is great. Like the dialogue, I can see a growth from Cloud in his character. We flesh out some of his side characters. It really just makes sense. So it's really nice re-enjoying that, and then seeing those some technical issues that were in the PS4 version rubbed out and smoothed out, because it is one of the most beautiful games on the system. Like, it is just such
Yeah.
a gorgeous looking game. Like all the spells and the way, even just like the way a piece of materia looks, like it's all just great. So if you get a chance to play that game, I know you said you haven't played it yet, but that's definitely one you have to pick up. It's so good.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, you grabbed some water or coffee to get you through the next part of our segment, because we are ready to go.
Or tea. Or
tea. Sorry, because we are ready to go. And we wanted to do a little game about trophies and achievements fitting with our theme. So
this was a tough one to plan for, but you came up with a really great game for it.
Aw, thanks, buddy. So we're thinking about trophies and achievements in games, and we're thinking about games that don't have them, and looking back and seeing what might make good trophies and achievements for older types of games. So we tasked each other with thinking of a few games for the other person to think about some trophies for, but they don't know these games right now. So I might, for example, ask Patrick, hey, Patrick, Super Mario Brothers on the NES, like, what would be a good trophy for that? That's not one of them, by the way. And then he would have to think on the fly, like, what would be good, what would be funny, what might make someone really enjoy the game more or entice them to otherwise play the game if they haven't. So that's kind of what we're going with.
I feel like we're going to throw out the window all the things that we said that we hated and come up with those types of things too. But we, unlike our usual games, we were nice to each other this time around, just because of familiarity's sake. We didn't want to ask someone a game that they've maybe played once or they're not familiar with. So like Jason's probably not going to ask me something about Mortal Kombat because I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan, and like vice versa.
Well, let me just cross that one off the list. Okay.
Yeah, I know he hasn't really played. Was it Final Fantasy VIII?
I've played it. I just don't like
it. So like, I'm not going to ask you something that you don't like. So yeah, we're just keeping it in our wheelhouse just to make it a little more interesting.
So if you had to add trophies and achievements for this game, make me want to play it because I haven't played it yet. What would you add for Breath of Fire 3?
Ooh, Breath of Fire 3. It's funny because I'm considering working on a video right now comparing Breath of Fire 3 and 4 and having them duke it out for what's the superior game. And I'm starting to lean towards Breath of Fire 3 because I am replaying Breath of Fire 4 right now as well on my Vita, and I don't get it. Like, I don't know why. It's a good game, but I mean, like, I don't know why people think that this is the like the better of the two. If I wanted to be really obscene, they have this masters system where you basically have a character intern, if you will, underneath an NPC, and as they level up or as you do certain things, you learn skills from them, and they kind of augment the way you level up. I would say like you have to learn every skill from a master.
God, that would be one too.
I would hate that. Absolutely. I think one way that could be kind of cool. So the main character transforms into a dragon. And maybe one of the trophies or achievements is like, if you want to replay the game with a certain level of difficulty, Ryu, the main character, can't transform into a dragon at all. I think the game is still completely doable. I just know that you can super cheese some of the bosses, because with like a certain infusion and with a certain ability, you can get him doing like thousands of damage in a game that is not the norm. Like, usually characters are hitting towards the end game for like 100 to 200. So I think that would be like a gold trophy of, beat the game without any Ryu transformations, because in the other games Ryu only can transform into a dragon. He doesn't get anything else, but in this game he still has healing spells and support spells, so he's still useful and he's a really good fighter. But I think that would really it would really augment
a little
the game.
Overpowered.
It would change the way you play, and it could kind of fit in because he's kind of like outcast for being this dragon. So maybe it's one of those things where he still doesn't necessarily want to show or doesn't want to have a bad impression. It could go along contextually.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man, hit me up.
Yeah. So I think that was a really good one. I appreciate that you kept it in the realms of RPGs, just because that's the podcast, but also how much I love them.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just gonna go with one of your faves. Give me an Ocarina of Time trophy.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be Mega Man. Ocarina of Time. Man, just fucking beat the game. That'd be a good one. Okay. I think yeah, I feel like the reason why I like that game a lot is that the story is really solid. So I think an easy one is just like to play through the story. I think that would be really fun. I think that would be an easy one to also recommend someone to platinum if there was trophies there, because it would be, there's so much you can explore. If I had to make some, I think if I had to make one that I would hate, it would be to do anything with Bombchu Bowling. So if you ever wanted to do Bombchu Bowling, I'd be like, no, that's gonna be awful.
Which I will say on the N64, impossible. On the 3DS,
3DS,
totally doable.
Doable. I agree. That's a good point. If I was to make like a fun achievement, I think it would be cool to collect all the pieces of heart.
Yeah,
like every single one, because you'd go like everywhere. You would do the Deku seeds, is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
Where you plant them, you go between time. That'd be a fun adventuring one where you would kind of go all over the place. So I think that'd be a cool.
I agree with you. I think that's nothing really obscene. It like fits that whole notion of just completionist in a certain way, but like it's not stupid. It's not like you're getting these pieces of equipment that are just like so much time investment. Like you acquire a lot of these pieces of parts as you're playing, so it makes complete sense. I thought you were gonna say beat Ganon with the fishing rod.
If we're gonna stick with the RPG,
not that realm, we have to,
which I'm okay with. I want to know what you would add for Persona 3.
Ooh, okay. So
this is a rare one that you and I both picked.
Yes, I do love Persona 3 a lot. Sometimes I think it's my favorite, but that also might be that like whole this was my first Persona game, and game like that, and introduction to Japanese culture. Like it had a lot of good things going for it. I think one thing that'd be really cool, that's kind of silly, would maybe just be eat at all the restaurants.
Yeah, okay, I can see it.
Like I don't think that's really too far out there.
No, it's not. There's not that many. Yeah.
Another one that you could do that could be kind of hard would be, I know some people already do this, but it's like just use Orpheus and you don't use
never change.
You don't do anything else.
Orpheus. God, that would be so challenging.
Yeah, I really would, because I can't even comprehend how you would learn new skills.
How would you heal?
Right. So
exactly.
I think those would be two that I would go for, like a fun one and then kind of a silly one like that. Yeah, or a hard one.
Nice. Yeah, the cafe one, that's a good one.
You actually semi-spoiled it already, because it was actually the first one that I have, but
is it Mega Man?
It is Mega Man. It's your favorite Mega Man 2.
Oh my god, I was thinking about asking you about Mega Man 3. That's so funny. If I had to add one for Mega Man 2, it would just be to turn the game off and play Mega Man 3.
Can you not be such a bitch?
No, it's okay. Mega Man 2 is wonderful. Okay. I mean, man, it's got to be. So I think there would be the benchmark ones of beat every boss. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Well, but I mean, again, like try not to do something that's too expensive. Because that's basically just
totally
playing
fine.
The game,
Exactly. I think the challenging one would be beat every boss with the Mega Buster.
Yes.
Like you don't use the extra weapons. That's a gimme. It has to be there. I would also say a fun one would be to beat Quickman stages without dying.
Ooh,
I think that would be
because of all those little beams that kill you in one hit.
Yeah, from the very beginning. Exactly. That would be a challenging one. But yeah, I think just the general beat it with just the Mega Buster the entire way through would be good, because I mean that game has the metal blades, which are like ridiculous, and so like it would be a lot harder if you couldn't use those.
If I had to do one for Mega Man, I feel like it'd be do the boss rush at the, like every Mega Man has that. You have to fight all 8 Robot Masters again, pretty much all at the same time. I think it would be on One Life.
One Life. Yeah, I could see it. See, like those things that we're saying right now are like literally what were included in Mega Man Anniversary Collection, like we were talking about earlier in the podcast, and like so like people are thinking about them at least. So I think it's in there.
It's in there. Okay,
it's in there. No, it's a good one. That was fun. Something else that we're really into are side-scrolling beat 'em ups. So what about Streets of Rage? Pick your choice. Streets of Rage 1, 2, or 3. Which one would you want? I would go with Streets of Rage 2.
I think in Streets of Rage, see, it's hard because like Sega Classics had a
Hmm.
trophy for almost all of the games on there.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm trying to think of like something unique that you could do in those games that would make it really special, aside from like the not taking a hit or not getting a game over, because I feel like those games are so like set on
Hmm.
what you have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
So I might need your help with this one, because I'm trying to think of like something that's a little outside the box of just those things that you would expect to be a trophy anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the easy ones are like don't use the police backup call or like your superpower one, like things like that.
I would think like
I think
jump
like
kicks only. Like I feel like that would
that's what
be
I was gonna
yeah,
say
just
too.
jump kicks
Like
only.
you can only jump and kick, or like you can only throw people. But it would almost have to be like a mode. Like they would put a mode in like kicks only, and like then that's all you could do.
Right.
And that would be fun. But I think that because the game is older, something that we kind of touched on, it's harder to implement those things just because it's like not really there. But I think that another way, like to compensate for that, playing the game differently and giving yourself that self-imposed challenge, I think would be fun, and it could be a neat way to beat up some
Well, I
thugs.
wouldn't say it's that the game is older. I think it's just so specific on what it does. Like
Yeah, the mechanics are simple in a
I could
sense.
give you something like A Link to the Past, which is I think the same age as that game, but
Yeah,
the
probably.
scope of what that game does is so much broader than what Streets of Rage does, and it doesn't mean like one game's better than the other. It just they're just one is just so specific and well thought, and the other game is like just broader.
That's a good point. Yeah, yeah. I actually had Link to the Past slash and Streets of Rage. They're on the same line because I was like, if we can throw a retro one in there too, that's a good point. I think it would be much easier to be like, I don't know, get well, I guess you'd all the pieces apart again, but more so like explore all the worlds in a certain time frame, or I don't know, don't get hit, something like that. Like some of those challenges are a little bit easier in a game like Link to the Past.
And I feel like they're expected. You know, those are
They're
totally
expected,
expected.
yeah.
Okay, I got one
The
for you.
expected achievos.
Throwing it back at
Hit
you,
me up.
another one of your favorites. Jason, come up with a trophy
Mm.
or an achievement for Super Metroid.
Oh God. Um. Yeah, this is another one where just play the game. That would be great.
Play the game.
Just play the game. No, there's got to be one for the speed run, right? Isn't that the one where you get out fast enough and you save the animals? I think that's Super Metroid. That'd be a fun
That'd be a
one.
good one.
I think. Ooh. Ooh. So if it would probably have to be a mode implemented, but if somehow you could complete the game without a map, that would be kind of
Oh,
crazy.
that would suck.
Yeah, that would be rough, but that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I mean, like it
you
could
could still
take you back to like
map it yourself. Like you could still figure it out.
map it yourself, or like really think. I mean, and each zone is pretty distinct. Like you know when you're in a different zone, so like you kind of know where to go. But yeah, that would be a
Maybe
fun
that's a
one.
good way to think of some of these too. Is kind of like the disabling feature instead of like what
Disabling.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, and then the other one, like, so if you're gonna do the speed run, like the time one, I think that would make sense. But also, just the collect all items is a really common Metroid thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a go to one. But yeah, I would say no map. That'd be a big
That's
challenge.
a
That
good
would
one.
be a gold. That's a gold trophy. Okay. Let's do something a lot more recent and see. You said you're playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, right? Would you want to add any achievements to that one? I know Laura's playing that. She had some proud moments catching like big Alakazams and Snorlaxes and stuff.
I feel like using below a certain number of Pokeballs. So, and one of the reasons why, like, so I'm a Nuzlocker, and we're gonna have a Pokemon episode here coming up really soon.
Mhm.
And that's a way of playing the game. I'm not gonna go into it, but I'm always trying to think of like ways to spice up Pokemon games.
Yeah.
I think that would be the way I would go, where you only get so many Pokeballs throughout the game, so you really have to think about what you're catching, who you're catching, when you're catching.
Yeah.
That would be it for me. We're like beat the game only using this many Pokeballs. That's it, like just flatly, because you know there are some things that like complete the Pokedex. You know, it would be expected. You know, complete all the side quests.
Yeah.
It
It's
would
to be
be
expected.
expected, but I don't know if that would be like something that's expected, and it's totally doable. Like you could totally do that.
Cool. I would need to play the game to get my own judgment.
You would, yes. Okay, I have one last one for you, and then you can pitch a final one to me.
Sure.
I love this because of all the memes and the jokes about this game. But Jason, can you give me a trophy or an achievement for Star Fox 64?
There's jokes about this game?
I mean, how many times on stream or in general do we say, do a barrel roll?
Do a barrel roll. Oh, I get you.
For you get one for doing a barrel roll.
Yeah, just that absolutely should be one.
The trophy is did a barrel roll.
Did a barrel yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it wasn't explicitly clear, I'd love this game.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that I've replayed 1,000 times. Like, this is one of my favorite games.
Dude, I'm thinking if I was like on, hey, Jason, Nintendo's hiring you, we're gonna remake this game, but your only job is to make achievements and trophies for it. Man, I would make one of them just to like listen to the soundtrack. I love that soundtrack so much. It's so solid.
I agree, but boo.
Okay, yeah, no. But if I'm thinking of a more fun one, it's got to be getting a medal on every level. That's a challenge without cheating.
But again, do you think that is something that is really pushing
I think that
the bill?
See, it's not a unique. I'll give you a unique one too, but I think it's not a super unique one. But that's almost kind of like to use a really, really weird example. It's like the God of War equivalent of defeating the Valkyries, because it's challenging to do that, and like it's a good way to show that you have skill in the game.
Because you just get the medal for like killing as many things as possible, right? Like there's like
you get all the kills. You get all the kills, and you have to have your whole team survive. You could also add in something else too, like you need to pick up all the gold rings. Like, I don't know, like whatever else you want to do, I suppose. But if I was to do a more fun one, it could be something like in Katina or whatever the levels are, where you fight Star Wolf, like defeating them in order.
Fucking love Star Wolf. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, defeating them.
So like Wolf is always last, but like, you do like Pigma first,
Sugma,
Andy, and all that stuff. Yeah, Sugma. There you go. That'll be fun. And then I think a challenging one could be something like never using the lock-on laser. That would be really hard.
Oh yeah, that would be hard.
But yeah, you could try.
I was thinking like if characters resurrected every level, it'd be like shoot down Slippy in every level.
No,
because you have windows where they're always like going in front of you, and it's like literally
exactly.
Like Slippy must die in every level.
Or she'll do this thing where she's like, I'm going in, and like she says it when she's already there, so you're already like probably shooting her ship anyways. So yeah, that could be good. Oh yeah, or like never losing an R-wing, like that could be a good one. Like, because your R-wing, I guess that could be fun. Man, now I'm just thinking about Star Fox. This is great. This is great.
Play it today.
What a good episode. I should. Okay, I can fire one more at you if you want to. I can do one more, and that'll be
it. Gimme. Also, Slippy's a guy.
True. That's true. Slippy's a guy. Okay. If I was to do one last RPG, what would you want to add for the recently announced on Nintendo Switch Online for Earthbound?
Oh, I love Earthbound. You really need to play this game.
I did start it. When they put it on the Switch, I did load it up, and I played for 5 minutes and got tired, so I stopped. But it doesn't mean I don't want to keep playing.
It's so good.
Is this the one where you just play the game? That's the achievement?
No. For you, yes. I think so. One of the characters, Jeff, he gets bottle rockets as weapons, and he doesn't get like magic like the other people do, or psi powers. So he gets this one called multi-bottle rocket, which again like just levels all enemies or maims bosses to the point where they're trivialized. I think one of them would be definitely don't use any of the multi-bottle rockets, like just because they can. I mean, you have limited inventory for that game, so you definitely, it's not like
you have to like buy them.
No, I mean like every character has a certain amount of inventory spaces, which I know a lot of people complain about in a lot of games. I actually really like that in games because I like inventory management. Like, I think it really matters.
You're fucking weird, dude.
Well, I mean, walking around with 99 potions or like all these things, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's an element in RPGs or games in general that I've just never been a fan of. I like those ones where like you have a certain amount of things that people can hold. It just makes sense. It's
like those cartoons in Breath of the Wild where Link's fighting someone, then just stops and eats like 50 apples.
Exactly. Like it doesn't. it doesn't vibe well for me. But I think that would be
Mhm.
one where, like, maybe you can't use any of the multi-bottle rockets. I think that would probably be one of them. If you are walking around the game, there's these certain places where you get your photograph taken and you have to say
Mhm.
Fuzzy Pickles. So I think the trophy would be called Fuzzy
Yep.
Pickles, where like uh you have to hit all of those locations because they're not all story based. And
Okay.
they're not like, you're not
Interesting.
told to go there. You just kind of just like show up at certain times. This guy drops from the sky and takes a photo of you.
Weird.
So I
Okay.
think that would probably be one too. Yeah.
Nice. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I will give you my word that I will eventually, at some point in my life, at any given time, look at maybe possibly trying to maybe play.
I really hope you do. I think you're missing out on a golden opportunity.
Yeah, it does look like fun. Well, awesome. Thanks for sharing your ideas for trophies and achievements with me, Patrick. This was pretty cool. It made me think about the games that I like and how I liked enjoying them, and also the games you put up made me think about what I should be, or what I'm missing out on, and how I could enjoy them.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I hope like listeners, you definitely got a good grasp of like ways that you can think about trophies in better ways, or um even if it's just like games that you've played, what would the trophies look like in those games? I mean, unless they're Nintendo games, who knows? They might get
Yeah.
trophies in the future, or remakes in the future that have trophies attached to them. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think we both would say this, that we want to hear what you guys think too. Like, I would love to know. I mean, like, I'm more intrigued by these games now that talking about them with Patrick, because knowing like what they could be. So let us know what you guys think too. Like, Twitter and Instagram too at RPGaymer, and then as you're listening to this podcast, and if you leave that review too, you can put a little comment on there for anyone else listening. We'd love to hear
yeah,
it.
or head on over to our Discord. Got the
Oh yeah,
perfect
Discord.
place for discussions on there. Hoping to see some more conversations going on, and this is the perfect time to share what games you would want to see have trophies, or just to make fun of us for all the things that we said in this episode. We welcome it.
Awesome. Well, we are going to be wrapping up here too. Hope you enjoyed your time. And if you did like listening to us, like we said, leave that review. And be sure to tune in next time. We're going to be talking about guilty pleasures and games. And that podcast is coming out soon.
And if you listen to this episode in totality, you just got a platinum trophy in RPGaymer. Congrats.
Woo! All right, everyone. We appreciate you all for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Now go out there and get gaming.
Good gaming, y'all.